Paris, la ville de l'amour, de la romance et des rêves. D'après ce qu'on dit. Autrefois, j'aurais été d'accord. Mais depuis ce jour-là, le jour du meurtre, j'ai toujours associé cette belle ville à la mort. J'étais chez moi en train de prendre un bain lorsque mon éditeur m'avait appelé.
Connard, fonce à toute vitesse au Palais Royal. Tu as une interview. Avec Pierre Carchon. Oui, le Pierre Carchon. Pas de photo. Tu peux laisser ton matériel chez toi. Il a demandé à ce que ce soit toi personnellement. Ne me demande pas pourquoi. En tout cas, c'est peut-être un gros coup. Alors s'il te fait des avances, n'oublie pas de sourire, de dire oui et de continuer à prendre des notes.
C'était charmant et tellement pertinent. Pierre Carchon était un prince des médias, un héros national, et aussi l'un des hommes adultères les plus célèbres d'Europe. Avec sa femme Imelda, il n'était qu'à 2 pas de la royauté. Oh, je déteste les mimes, mais si on ne leur donne pas ce qu'ils veulent, ils ne partent jamais. Voilà, j'y étais. On surnommait ça le palais du roi des médias et de la reine de glace. En appuyant sur la sonnette, j'avais déclenché une série d'événements qui allaient changer ma vie à tout jamais.
Oui, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Bonjour madame, je m'appelle Nico Collard, je viens voir monsieur Carchon.
Montez, nous sommes au premier.
Madame Carchon, je suis ravie de vous rencontrer.
Oui, je n'en doute pas.
La reine de glace était bien à la hauteur de sa réputation. Est-ce que vous allez rester pour l'interview?
Mademoiselle, je ne sais presque rien des affaires de mon mari. Et c'est bien le dernier de mes soucis. Je n'ai pas du tout envie de le voir tripoter encore une journaliste un peu mignonne.
Mignonne? Vous êtes trop gentille, madame.
Oh, la talentueuse et fort jolie Mademoiselle Collard. C'est un plaisir de vous rencontrer enfin.
Monsieur Carchon, je suis très honorée.
Oh, je n'en doute pas.
Je vous en prie, appelez-moi Pierre. Vous savez, je ne vous flatte pas sans raison. J'étais un ami de votre père, c'était un grand homme.
Mon père? Il ne m'en a jamais parlé.
Nous étions très proches, et puis il y a eu sa mort. C'est tragique. Je dois... Imelda, ton satané chat est encore dans mon bureau. Encore un vase Ming, je suppose. Excusez-moi un instant, ma chère.
Les journalistes sont de plus en plus jeunes.
C'est peut-être le reste du monde qui vieillit, madame. Ce n'était pas un chat. Mon Dieu! Monsieur Carchon, est-ce que...
Il est mort. Je dois appeler la police. Vous feriez mieux de rester ici.
Il y avait un homme. C'était le mime. Vous croyez qu'il a...
Eh bien, je crois que nous pouvons écarter la thèse du suicide. Vous ne croyez pas?
Je comprenais tout à coup pourquoi on l'a surnommée la reine de glace. Elle aurait été en tête de ma liste des suspects si je n'avais pas vu l'assassin de mes yeux. Et si je n'avais pas déjà vu des meurtres comme celui-là. l'un des hommes les plus importants d'Europe, assassiné. Et j'étais là, moi, Nico Collard, seule sur la scène du crime. Devais-je attendre la police ou commencer ma propre enquête? La réponse me semblait évidente.
A small round piece of glass had been cut out of the pane. This was a professional job. Mimes and guns don't usually go together, but I had an idea that this was no ordinary mime. I'd come across this murderer before and written about him. The costume killer, at least that's what I'd called him. It was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact. It must have fallen when I was knocked down. Some people hate searching corpses for clues. Me, I'm okay with it. Reminds me of an old boyfriend. In his pocket, I found a ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Taking the ticket meant I tampered with the evidence. There was no going back now. Carchon had been shot. I closed his eyes. It was the least I could do for the poor fellow. A bust of Pierre Carchon, humble servant of La France. The bookcase was filled with obscure first editions. I didn't want to cut myself and leave blood on the glass. Call me old-fashioned, but I like to keep my DNA to myself. Pierre Carchon again. His eyes seemed to follow me around the room. The police could turn up at any minute. Somewhere there were clues to the murder, and I needed to find them. A Louis XIV table with an antique cloth. Imelda had taste. But hey, with a husband that rich, taste is easy. I reckoned that cloth might just turn out to be useful. Even my fingernail wouldn't fit into such a small hole. Imelda had talent, but I certainly wasn't going to tell her that. It was a tube of acrylic paint, French ultramarine. Just the color I was after for my bathroom. I'm sorry, I have to go. Someone is... Young lady, what are you doing? Oh, this paint. It's my favorite color. For God's sake, keep the damn stuff. A medieval pageant. Original, no doubt. The tapestry must have cost a fortune. Aha! Nico, you are just so damn good at this stuff. Instead of comforting Imelda, I was ransacking her flat. Why? Because there was something going on here, and I had to get answers before the cops arrived. And hey, she'd been rude to me, so she had it coming. A key. Maybe a safe key. The door was locked. A modern key on an antique door. It wasn't going to work. Excuse me, madame. Yes? I am so sorry for your loss, madame. No, you're not. You're a journalist. Journalists don't feel sorry. Not true. We shall see. How did your husband know my father? I have no idea. You didn't know him? Thierry Coulard? Pierre knew a lot of people I didn't know, most of them women. Why would a mime want to kill your husband? Pierre had plenty of enemies. Half the husbands in Paris for a start. Why did your husband send for me? What did he want to discuss? I have no idea. His business was his business. He never told you anything? No, and frankly, I preferred it that way. This is quite a scoop for you. I suppose you're already inventing the headlines. Just because I am a journalist. Don't patronize me. You're all cut from the same cloth. Do you have any moral sense at all? I certainly don't let it get in the way of a good story. I admire your loyalty to your profession. The police will be here soon, madame. Is there anybody you would like me to contact? Family, friends? No, I have no family. Pierre and I were... He was all I had, really. Not much, was it? The dutiful wife. That was my role. He never talked, never let me in. I know one thing, madame. What? If you want to find out who killed your husband, then you let me do the job, not the police. Why? How do I know I can trust you? Because you have no choice. The police will take weeks, in which time your own life may be in danger. What? Believe me, this killer has struck before, and he will strike again. Who is to know that you are not next on his list? I don't know. All I need is a few more minutes to look around before the police come. I think perhaps you do have a moral sense, of sorts. You're not a very good liar, Nico Collard, and I share your low opinion of the police. Here, take this. It's the key to the drawing room next to the library at the end of the hall. It was Pierre's room. I rarely went in there. I couldn't. I was too scared of what I might find. Thank you. I promise you won't regret this. Now we were getting somewhere. The painting showed the Cachons together, in love. As the poet said, the past is a different country. Or did I read that in a fortune cookie? There was the very faintest of clicks. This wasn't the time for me to lie on the sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression. Though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why. As expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision. My heart skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant. It had been made by my father. I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Cauchon had known my father. They really must have been friends. I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda. I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank. I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. No. Locked. Not surprising, really. Behind the picture was a safe. In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface. It looked like the printer's blocks I'd made at art school. If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols scratched into stone were impossible to read. I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round. But what could I use for ink? And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Carchon was past caring. Putting the paint straight on the cylinder would be too messy. I smeared the paint all over the cloth. When I do messy, I really liked. I hoped this was going to help. I wiped the paint-covered cloth over the surface of the stone cylinder. It took me right back to art class at school. And Maurice, my gorgeous art teacher. Such a shame they had to fire him. Ah well, concentrate, Nico, concentrate. Genius! The roller and the paint worked just as I planned. But what did it say? It was some kind of coded message. It read, sub judice. I may not have learned a lot as a journalist, but that was a term I knew well. It means a legal case that is before the courts. Below it was a sequence of letters that made no sense. I suddenly realized there was a connection between the boat ticket and the coded message. The boat ticket was stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. The conciergerie on the Ile de la Cité, by the river, housed the ancient law courts. So, sub judice could in this case mean literally under the law courts, below the conciergerie. I was pretty sure I'd found all I could here. And besides, all this opulence was making me pine for my regular life of poverty. This was a huge story. It was also one heck of a puzzle with a lot of pieces missing. But I was going to crack it. And if I could just remember the name of that fancy prize you get for being an ace journalist, I was definitely going to win it this time. Did you find anything useful? This carving. Do you know anything about it? It was Pierre's. What does the statue have to do with... Please, I need to know. He was given it by a friend. Something to do with Africa. He never explained any more? No. But I think it was important to him. Always on display. Why? It was carved by my father. Oh, I see. I didn't know. Imelda, I will do everything I can to find the killer. Thank you, my dear. And if the police ask, don't worry. You were never here. Sub judice was the key. I was going to have to find a way under the conciergerie. I decided to head straight for the quayside on the Ile de la Cité. If there was a way of getting under the conciergerie, it would have to be from there. Carchon wasn't the type for messing about on the river. He was up to something down here. Something that got him killed. The fence wouldn't move. This fence wouldn't move either. The cross looked familiar. I'd seen it before. It was embroidered on the lace cloth I'd picked up at Carchon's apartment. I knew I was on the right track. I tried pushing the fence, but it wouldn't move. A strange pair of locks stopped the latches from releasing the gate. Yes! One down, one to go. Nothing like a good convent education for honing your lockpicking skills. For a room full of junk, that was one very sophisticated lock system. This place was definitely fishy, in more ways than one. Oops. An old shell case. I wondered what that was doing there. Moving a skiff would only damage it more. The words sinister and Dexter were carved on either side. Now any good convent girl like me knows the old Roman for left, right, left, right. But what did it mean here? Rolling out the painted cylinder had given me a print of a secret message. It read, Sub Judice. Below it was a sequence of letters. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Mystery solved. Carchon's stone cylinder slotted into the hole with a satisfying click. A satisfying click told me I turned it to the right position. It felt like tumblers in a safe. Another click, another step closer. I love the sound of locks clicking open. Ut lex vel ut next sumito. To the law or unto death, submit. I guess these people didn't believe in liberté, égalité, or fraternité. Yes, I'll admit it. I was a swot at school. I also wore lipstick and the nuns never knew. Oh my God! The slab came down with a hell of a force. It was the beautiful elephant my father had carved. The stone cross was propped up. Now I was getting somewhere. I touched the slot. Nothing bad happened, which was good. I've always been attached to my fingers. This slot was designed for something specific. But what? I touched the slot, which was this slot with. I removed the shell case. The panel wouldn't move. I really didn't want to pull the fence back up and risk trapping myself in this place. Moving a I removed. Lifting the cross closed the entrance. The artifact slotted into the hole perfectly. Behind the old walls, I could hear some kind of mechanism groaning into life, but whatever had been triggered had now jammed. The gap was too thin for me to get a grip. I needed something thin enough to prise the door open. I was going to need something a lot stronger than a hair clip to free the door. I removed the shell case. The cross didn't drop back down. Some kind of mechanism was holding it up. The cross didn't drop. Moving the skiff. I wasn't leaving. It was the old boathouse. If I was right about them, then the answer. An old boyfriend of mine owned a barge once. Dampest relationship I ever had. In every way. I wasn't. I really did. I'd wrecked the skiff. Not that it was particularly seaworthy anyway. It was almost as if the fence was intended to double as a bridge. The cross looked... The slab was too heavy for me to lift. A hidden door. This was getting interesting. Shame the mechanism jammed. I was going to have to find a way to prise it open. A hidden door. This was getting interesting. Shame the mechanism jammed. The cross was firmly propped up. I removed the cross. The cross didn't drop back. The gap was... I needed some... This wouldn't hold the cross up. I needed to use something... This wouldn't... I need... With nothing to hold... The stone slab had flattened one end of the shell case. I removed another good use for a shell case. Another secret room. Somebody had something to hide. But was it what I was looking for? Wow! Through the darkness, I could see that this was a stateroom. But for what purpose? And how did it tie in with Carchon? Amazing! The thing still worked. The room lit up bright as day. The flags had faded, but their message was still pretty clear. Fascist regalia, a message of hate. I wasn't going to find anything in this old desk. It hadn't been used for years. A door like that always has something important behind it. I had to find a way to unlock it. That wasn't going to help. A slot next to the safe door. All I had to do was find something to fit into it. It was like being back in kindergarten. All I needed now was a shape that would fit the slot. The flags had faded. Fascist. It was pretty clear from the lack of dust that someone had been working very recently at this desk. This was the article I'd written about the costume killer. My suspicions were right. Carchon had cut it out. 2 businessmen had been killed. One in Italy, one in Japan. In each case, the killer had worn a costume. A penguin, and then a snowman. But that wasn't the only link between the 2 murders. Both the victims had been big media do-gooders, and I proved they were just the opposite. So, how did they fit in with Carchon? The dregs at the bottom of the mug hadn't dried out or gone moldy. It wasn't more than a day old. Oh my God! The sheet was a printout with my personal information. Everything from my favorite food to my waist size. They were right about chocolate. But come on, guys, I'm a size 10. There was even a picture of me, taken with a telephoto lens. Carchon wouldn't have taken these pictures himself. This was big and organized. I was part of it, and people were getting murdered. Inside the drawer, I found a note written in some kind of code. report to follow. But this is too urgent to wait. Arno and Yamada both dead. This is not a coincidence. Indeed, it seems that all of us who came together in July are in danger. Take great care. X. I wasn't the only one to make the connection between the costume killer murders. I'd been right all along. That was why he had asked to meet me. But what did I know that he didn't? I wasn't going to... A slot next to... the fashion. Damn, don't you just hate it when that happens? A photo, long lost, had fallen down the back of the drawer. It was very old, but there was no mistaking the guy in the foreground. Carchon. Behind him were soldiers, a burning village, and a corpse. The photograph was cropped on the right-hand side. Somebody else in the picture obviously didn't want to be in it anymore. I wasn't surprised. This was Africa in the 60s. An uprising was being brutally suppressed. And here was Mr. Media himself, Carchon, doing the suppressing. The photograph was not just powerful evidence. It was also my ticket to one explosive story. I had enough for a story, an amazing story that was going to make my reputation and blow Carchon's to pieces. I needed to get home fast and start typing.